So the big question now that you've had the opportunity to share with people that might have been able to see something you didn't is, did they actually offer you some insights? Were they able, I see Charlie shaking his head, yeah, what happened? Give us an example.
A few years back moving, it was just really stressful, and like I take it out on other people. Like Ron suggested, just taking a moment, relaxing, and trying not to take it out on others.
Okay.
So
Yeah, recognizing stress and changing the reaction to stress is huge. We do a lot of training with people on stress and conflict, and a lot of different techniques, but think about the most stressful situations, the most stressful events in your life. Marriage, death of a family member, moving, starting a new school, things like that. Those are all way up there, right? And they cause a tremendous amount of stress. And recognizing that, just the fact that you were able to identify that, yes, I took it out on people because I was moving, and maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Trying to figure out how you can reduce that stress and better cope with it is fabulous. And if you want to see me some other time, I've got a lot of techniques that will take your stress from here down to here in just about every situation. So also look out for my book. It's coming out next year. I'm taking sabbatical in January to write it. A lot of the material, not a lot we're talking about today, but one of the exercises here is going to be in that book, Hunt for the Opportunity. So who else came up with something that you can share just over a couple of minutes where you were able to get some insight that somebody in your group mentioned something that you did not see initially in that situation? See a couple of ladies here nodding your heads. You care to share? Not to put you on the spot. You don't have to if you don't want to. Go ahead.
Elvia was talking about how when her kids had to stay home because of COVID, the whole lockdown and stuff, and she didn't really know what to do in that situation, but she got it together and decided to be a teacher. Is that what you said, right? It wasn't really something that was wanted, but in that situation, it almost you have to understand that it is what it is, and you know that it's going to be the best for your situation.
COVID caused a lot of disruption in a lot of different areas of our lives. People that were going to work are now no longer going to work. Kids that were going to school are now no longer going to school. But we've got to figure out how to be able to work from home and have our kids get an education from home. And if you have multiple kids at home, how multiple kids and multiple parents can all be in the same house doing different things all at the same time, trying to do what they need to do to get through school or to get through work. And we had to do a lot of innovation. A lot of creative ideas came out of this. One of my wife's brother, her sister's husband, they have a house and they have way too many kids. They have 5 kids, 6 kids. And one of them has special needs, which poses a challenge to begin with. But then they had the other 4 at home. So what they did was they all created different spaces in the house for when they were going to school, because they were all in different classes. So they had their own little areas. So when they were in school, one of them was in this spot of the house, one of them was here, one of them was over here, one of them was over there. And they created little areas for them so that this was their spot. And they knew Dad had his spot when he was working from home. And the kids knew when Dad was in his office, he was not being bothered, because unless it was an emergency. The kids, the same thing. When the kids are in certain places, then it looks like they're online. Well, that's because how we're getting education now. Everybody's going online. Everybody's going virtual. So even though it looked like they were playing around, having fun going on, no, they were actually in class online. They were just playing around with games online and surfing the web and stuff like that. So a lot of things came out of this transition to COVID. Workforce right now is going to be a tremendous source of fear for people going forward, because we're starting to get back to somewhat of a new normal, right? But we don't know what that new normal is going to look like yet. And the problem is that a lot of companies now are not getting their employees 100% back. They're shifting things around. There's going to be some permanent work from home positions. Some positions can't work from home by nature. So things that require physical or manual labor, right? But anything that resides up here in knowledge-based work can easily be done from home. So right now, organizations are going through trying to figure out that balance. People got used to working from home, but that posed problems. How do I know if Shannon Carolyn is my employee and she's working from home? How do I know that she's not just screwing off when I'm paying her to work? How do I know that she doesn't have Facebook up and is posting all sorts of stuff on Facebook about KMMA and their great camps when she should be doing work for me? Right? I'm not going to sit here and monitor her in a video camera or put a little Blink video camera behind her laptop so I can watch when she's doing her work. Right? That wouldn't be right. But what's that balance? And companies now are dealing with that. And the workforce is changing. So instead of being fearful about these changes that are coming, with work getting redesigned and work getting reimagined, look for the opportunities. People have made millions of dollars. People have become rich, not just on Bitcoin and on the cyber currencies and stuff like that, the cryptos, but people have made a fortune in the last 18 months because they figured out a way to help people meet their needs, solve their problems, deal with the disruptions, things like that. Either selling products, selling services. And they did it from home. Okay? People built businesses, people built empires out of COVID, out of their response to COVID, because they saw it as an opportunity. Restaurants initially shut down. Instead of going DoorDash and things like that, some of them, like Outback, took their servers and put their servers as delivery people. Because they didn't want to have to worry about their servers. Right? When COVID hit, people couldn't go to restaurants. They couldn't do that. So what did Outback do? Outback said, you know what, we're going to start, instead of using DoorDash and all these other places to charge, you guys will deliver for us. Makes it easy. They already know the company, they know the process, everything. So companies did that. They saw opportunities. The good companies that have survived this whole transition and this whole outbreak are the ones that look for those opportunities. The people that are going to survive longer term and that are going to do well and not have stress and anxiety up here driving their lives every single day are the ones that are looking for and finding opportunities. The way to do that is not in isolation. The way to do that is to discuss what are called masterminds. Has anybody been to Ford's estate down in Sarasota? Henry Ford had an estate down south of Sarasota on the water. You know who was next to him? Edison. You know who else they hung out with? Carnegie. Leaders hang out with each other. They create these things called mastermind. They hang out with each other. They talk about ideas. They bounce ideas off of each other. That's how the Industrial Revolution changed this country. Because it wasn't just Henry Ford thinking, oh, okay, well, what am I going to do? No, he got together with Einstein, or not Einstein, he got together with Edison and Carnegie and all these other thought leaders. And they figured things out. They bounced ideas off of each other. It's called a mastermind. That's how you uncover opportunities. People that you talk to, different backgrounds, different experiences, different upbringings, different education levels, things like that. They come from a different place. It lets you get your blinders off. That's the whole thing with opportunities. So take a positive attitude, be proactive, start looking for changes. Don't discount the fear. Have empathy, have understanding. But when it comes to change, redirect that fear. Redirect that fear into a place where you get rid of the fear, acknowledge it. Yeah, I understand why. But the reality of it is, you're trying to predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, do we? Remember, fear is your own mind, your mind's manifestation of what you think is going to happen in the future. We don't know that. But you're constructing something and you think it's going to happen. Eventually, if you keep thinking it's going to happen, what happens? It does, right? And eventually it happens that way. You create it. So you've got to change the way you think. You've got to look for those opportunities. And again, as leaders, don't discount people's fears, but work to redirect them. Work to redirect those fears and get people thinking about growth and opportunity and looking for those blind spots, getting beyond those blinders, removing those blinders. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you for your time.